Hello. Number one, the voice is a little bit better. I don't find myself screaming in my car much anymore. Does that mean things are better? No, not really. Won't lie to you. So, counselling has been interesting the last couple of weeks, and it has resulted in me kind of confronting people around issues. See, I've been speaking to my counsellor, and a lot of stuff comes up, and I can't stress how petty the things are. But when I'm talking to the counsellor, I also can't stress the depth that it hurts, the depth that it's ingrained in me. And then, of course, I remind him and myself that I'm, heading towards 40. And where we now? We're Thursday today, so Wednesday, yesterday when I went counselling, my biggest issue is going through this cycle of this stuff is so petty. I hate how petty it is. I don't want stuff to be this petty. I'm 36 years old. Why the hell is this petty shit annoying me? And it's this vicious cycle. And it's talking to the guy and saying, look, there's parts of the time where I feel like a man-child. And I feel like, when a kid, you can see in a child where they're trying to be understood and you can kind of see how they're reacting and whatever else. And it's just like the child isn't able to communicate their emotions or whatever. It feels like that sometimes. But the thing is, when you're not a child anymore, you become very aware of the cycle that you go through, of the things that you internalize and why they frustrate and hurt you, and trying to kind of put them across to people almost, or talk to people in a way that doesn't seem like you're a kid acting up. And all I could do was just go through this cycle and this loop. And, the guy spoke to me and he was sort of talking to me, and it's like, the reason why you feel like this isn't because of the petty issue. The petty issue is the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's because of the lifetime of manipulation and the differences that you've seen and the injustice in the way that things have been. That's why those things that are petty burn so deeply. And it was just a case of like, well, how do I stop them being like that? Now, on some stuff in life, it's easy just to kind of gather your thoughts and sort of snap yourself back into reality and be like, look, it is just a petty issue, pack it in. But with a lot of this stuff, because it's burnt such like deep childhood kind of situations and trauma, it's really hard to kind of just forget about it like it's not even a thing that bothers you. Which is really shit when issues are so petty. And I overthink and internalize a lot. And I get myself, like I say, I'm doing it now in this video, really. I get myself stuck in this cycle, hating how petty things are, not being able to move beyond that, trying to move beyond that, but being reminded of all the childhood trauma that comes with it. And then this cycle repeats. So it's been a couple of weeks of like confronting people of like, why is this situation like this? Why am I treated different? Why has that been the way that it's been through my upbringing? And I never got any useful answers. And I kind of got situations that were like, it almost felt a case of, well, if the situation happens now, then things will be different. And then lo and behold, as luck would have it, situations happen now, and the results are still the same. After people sort of taught you and promise you that they will do better, or, if they could change something, they would. And it's like, ta-da, situation presents itself. Now do better. And they don't. And I feel very let down. I do feel very let down. So, there's certain situations where people face things in life where they have to grow up fast. Like, there's just things that happen where You just have to deal with it and grow up fast. I was talking to the counsellor about stuff and how it feels that everybody comes to me for the answers or for, something. Almost for a leading figure or for a male role model or something. Which, don't get me wrong, would be great if it wasn't every person in my family. And because I've got this really strange mentality where for whatever reason, I see a hierarchy in the family where it's like your parents. And then in my opinion, it's like what I would hope would be your older siblings and then the younger siblings, yada, yada, and it goes down. And the bottom, the youngest, should always be able to look up. And the people that are above should always be trying to set an example. The problem there is that structure feels like it's turned on its head. I've never really been able to look up to the people above me. I've literally had a particular person above me turn around and say, "Oh, I am older than you. You are supposed to do what I tell you." And when I say that, I don't mean things like, a guide through life kind of tell you. It's a case of, you should wash up for me. You should cook my dinners for me. You should do this for me. You should do that for me. The problem there is that instantly breaks that pyramid of whatever you want to call it that I have in my head. And it makes me go, now, hang on a minute. We are the children of these parents. We're on a level. I ain't cooking for you. You know what I mean? I'm not no one's slave kind of thing. I speak to the counsellor about various different things that I've had to deal with, if you like, or help people through, or manage people through, whatever else. And what sucks is the counsellor turned to me, he's like, listening to everything that you said over the last few weeks, it seems like you are treated like a child, expected to behave like an adult. Like, people will come to you when they have no answers. Like, you are the person that has the answers. But then how you're then treated throughout the day-to-day in the house is almost like you're still, a young kid, like 5 years old or something. And I feel that, which is worse. I genuinely feel that sometimes. And I don't know how to break out. It's not that I don't know how to break out of it. I know how to do so much. And the worst thing is, the only, answer that I can feel would help me is to be able to move out. That in itself has its own mess in my head because, situations at the minute financially for just everybody in the world, it's just crazy. Unfortunately, we lost my nan 2 years ago now. So we've been in the process of modernising her house because we're going to put it on the market for renters. And that has given me a very deep understanding of sort of both sides, if you like, of the coin. Now, I know it's a big house, and if I was looking to rent, I wouldn't want to rent anything that size. But the rent of that property is more than I get paid a month. It was more than what I got paid a month when I was working a full-time job. And it's definitely more than I get paid now that my job is technically part-time, even though I work full-time hours, because that's just what I'm trying to do at the minute. So it blows my mind. And then that in itself starts this cycle of, how the hell do people manage it? Genuinely, how do people manage it? And I did a breakdown of costs once. I asked my folks to go down everything that they have to pay for that running of the house, everything. It gives a breakdown of costs. And we looked at it, and then it was a case of, my folks have been very fortunate. They own the house, so they don't pay a mortgage anymore. So on top of their breakdown of costs, we found an average rent sort of for the area, put that on it. And it was just sat there, and that final figure was like, well, I could never be able to afford to rent. We took off various different things because obviously we're a family of 4 living here. So we went through the costs and we're like, okay, so you wouldn't spend that much on there, you wouldn't spend that much on there. And you worked it out as if you were an individual. And the money was just insane. It was just way too much. So I don't really know it's a tricky one of like knowing the answer, but also knowing that you just can't quite reach that answer. Not really knowing what you're supposed to do there. I've been speaking to my dad a lot as well, and what's horrible to see is that my dad also doesn't have a position to speak from. He's not able to. He's chastised if he tries to speak out. And the problem with my household is it's such a bitter household in terms of if I speak to my father, apparently that means I have a favourite parent or my father has a favourite son. I'm not able just to speak to my dad without it meaning something to somebody else. But when you live in that environment where it it's been like that for life, and it almost feels like certain people have almost a control over your socialization, if that's the word, or your ability to socialize to your fellow blood under the same roof, gets tiring. It gets really tiring. And when I look at my dad and I speak to my dad about stuff, I can see the broken man that he is. There was something that I brought up during my week of confronting people, which left one person in my family turn to my father and go, "Well, what do you think?" And you saw almost the fear in my dad, because it's like he knows he can't say what he thinks because it's not about right and wrong. It'll be seen as him picking sides. And that's what's really frustrating, is right and wrong just seems to have gone out the window. And it's like, if somebody is supporting me because I just happen to be on the side of right, it becomes this conflict of, it's not about right or wrong, it's about, well, you're only supporting him because he's your favourite. And it is so frustrating. Like, I have no problem being wrong, but I would rather clear lines of right and wrong than this pettiness of picking sides. It's getting to the point where I'm really struggling to want to be at home, or I'm struggling to be around the people at home. And I'm spending way longer at work, which I genuinely don't know how work feel about that, because I am paid for the hours that I'm clocked in. But I'm also contracted like 4.5 hours a day, and I'm doing double that. I'm doing 9 hours pretty much on average because I don't want to come home. I don't like the environment, but I can't afford to get out of it, which is really, really dumb. Which is really dumb. And I know when it comes to money, there's way many people that are way worse off than me. I would like to make that clear that, like, this isn't me kind of, or worries me about money. For me, it's just, it is what it is. Like, I get it. I'm lucky that I'm in this situation that I am. I've got a roof over my head. You know what I mean? I've got that kind of home security vibe going on. And I know that there are so many people out there who do not have that. There are so many people out there who are like paycheck to paycheck, and they've got families to feed and everything else. Like, don't get me wrong, I do not want to even consider myself anywhere near that kind of category, because I genuinely don't know how people do it. I really don't. And my heart goes out to them people, man. It's quite funny in some ways. Well, not ha funny, but like weird funny. Is that I'm looking outwards and I'm seeing all these people that have their own place, and yeah, I know they're struggling to maintain it and whatever else, but it's like, for me, it feels like that's kind of the answer to my problems. And the other side of the coin is they're looking the other way, going like, dude's able to live and doesn't have to pay, all this money on rent. He's just got to pay a bit of board and do this and do that. And it's like the two people are looking at each other's situation and feeling that the grass is greener. I don't know. When I thought about that, it made me chuckle a little bit, because you always, well, it is literally always the grass is always greener on the other side, isn't it? It's like the alternative is always the better alternative. But yeah, it's just crazy. I thought I'd touch base with everybody anyway. This weekend is Easter weekend. I don't know what it's like wherever everybody else is in the world, but in the UK we get Bank Holiday Friday, Bank Holiday Monday for Good Friday, and then Easter Monday, I think it is. So that's been good. I'm having a sort of a long weekend away, which is hopefully going to be good. But looking at the weather, it is, well, I don't know if you can pick it up on the mic, but chucking it down. It's absolutely hammering it down. With it being Thursday night, I am intending to go down to see my friend, which I won't lie, it's my ex. Um, God bless her. You know, she picked up that I'm just in a bit of a hole, and she's going to go for a weekend into the countryside and was like, "Do you want to come with me?" And I know that we have fallen out so much lately, and it was literally even as a last time, it was Monday this week that we were really falling out. And part of me is like, I don't think that this is a very, very good idea at all for so many reasons. I don't know if it's such a good idea. But the other side of the coin is, it's happened before when we had a kind of a little bit of a breakup, and they went away and they were like, "Hey, I'm going away. Do you want to come and join me?" And you know what? It was a really nice time. It was a really nice time just out in the countryside, just taking some walks and just enjoying the change of scenery, the slower pace of life without the pressure of everything that goes on at home. It was just really nice. So I'm kind of hoping and praying that it can be like that again. I just don't want confrontation. I don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. I just want peace. And I know that it sounds stupid because obviously me and her, we had our differences and it won't work. And that hurts. It does hurt. But, you know, I know that, touch wood, I can find peace with her for a couple of nights and just enjoy each other's company, enjoy the wilderness and the kind of tranquility and emptiness that will be around, not have to worry about the stuff at home and just be able to relax and breathe. Hopefully, I might try and get some pictures, some video, whatever. I'm not going to take what I'm using here is quite a quality camera. I don't have any means to keep it nice and secure. So it will just be stuff off my phone, and I'm going to take the 360 camera. So, you know, I might, can't promise anything, but might bring something a little bit less gloomy and less, you know, miserable. Just something that's a little bit light-hearted and a little bit more, because I don't like this feeling either. I don't like this feeling. I don't like the gloom. I like nice, tranquil peace and, yeah, just on a level. I'm just also trying to keep it real with you guys, if that makes sense. And I know a lot of people here have kind of kept on with the ways that my brain's going and how I'm thinking and how I'm feeling because it seems very relatable. So I want to keep talking the hopefully relatable stuff to people. Obviously, relatable doesn't have to be all worries me and doom and gloom. You know, relatable can be just enjoying that kind of peaceful, empty, tranquility, free stuff. We will see. I just thought I'd catch up with you folks and hope everybody is well. And I will see you again soon. Love you all. Take it easy. Bye, guys.